Happy Friday. Welcome to the Wiley Report. I'm Wiley. Today we're talking about holiday parties. Today I went to my job had its holiday party at my library. I wouldn't say it because I work as a librarian, and at my campus there are many individual libraries. We used to at one point have like one holiday event that was kind of like this week or next week, or at least shortly after we got back from the Thanksgiving break, and everybody would come and they would play trivia. That was cool, but they stopped having that. So each library does its own thing, and whatever it does, it varies. But we had a potluck today. I brought the paper plates. That's what they asked me to bring because that's what they said they needed, because they had a lot of different people bringing different things. I've always been leery of potlucks. I promise I'm not being judgy or shady. I have one of those stomachs where it can act up on me, and if I don't, and also I like to know people's cleanliness habits, and if I don't know that, then I don't eat unless it's something that I see you bring in, or the people from the delivery place bring it in. So they had a lot of good stuff. They had good stuff in terms of they're good, and in terms of they had items of food, various things. They had tamales. They had looked like you could have barbecue sliders. They had salad. They had cookies. They had and they had a whole array of sodas. So you could get you, and then they had vegetarian chili, and they had vegetarian, other vegetarian dishes. I don't know what they are because I'm not vegetarian, but we do have people that been vegan or are vegan. So you had dishes for them too. So I sat around and I drank Pepsi and talked. And what did we talk about? We talked about television shows and cooking, and cooking podcasts and cooking TV shows. That's what we talked about in the section I was sitting in. So I did that for a good 40 minutes, and then I dipped. It was decent. It was a good time. It went on to 2:00 because the reading day was Thursday, and so this weekend starts our library being open 24/7, and I think finals is next week. So, and then also because it's the holidays, a lot of people will be disappearing for the holiday break and going wherever they go, whether it's to your house or to visit their families, or they got family coming in. That's what they'll be doing. And then later, so you go out. Anyway, hold on. So later they had in the information science, they have a group I'm in, and they had a holiday gathering. It was potluck too, but they didn't have a sign-up sheet because people just bring stuff. But the people I know, all the people that come there, it's very cleanly, so I don't ever have those issues. And they brought chicken wings, chicken tenders, or chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A, and there was also, I brought a meat and cheese tray, and then they had macaroni and cheese. I just ate the chicken tenders and the chicken wings. I'm lactose intolerant, so I didn't try that macaroni and cheese. But let me tell you something. I saw the way that spoon dipped down in there, and when I tell you, it looked like I know what I'm doing. I'm absolutely delicious. Love and ministry and oh, taste and see that the Lord is good and his mercy endures forever, macaroni and cheese. Yes, that's what it looked like. So when they dip that spoon in there, you can tell. You be like, yeah, that whoever made that, yeah, Kyra made that. Yes, that looked like she know what she doing. So anyway, But I'm gonna put this down because it's probably more smoking than I'm gonna do at this moment. But anyway, so that just made me think about the Christmas parties, or holiday parties, if you will. Story time of how, and not necessarily work parties, because I've had different jobs on the course of my career, and some of them threw holiday parties and some of them didn't. In the library world, when I lived and worked in Florida, we would have like a holiday gathering, but it was small. We worked in a lab with a whole bunch of other people, but the library was 3 people, so we would often go to a restaurant, for the holidays, and it would be fine. It would be nice. But what I also thought too about was there was this organization when I lived in Florida. I think they were called the Rainbow Ladies, professional black lesbians, and they would have house parties once a month, and they would have a holiday gathering. I remember going to one of their gatherings. I want to say, yeah, it was before Christmas. It was very nice. They had it at, kind of like you run out of space, and there's music. People get dressed up, and they have a bar, and they have a cash bar, or you can get, or you bought the ticket. If I'm remembering correctly, you bought the ticket, and that um the ticket got you a certain amount of drink tickets, and then the rest was like whatever it was that you drank or you purchased. I can't remember how the drinks work, but it was very nice because this has been years ago. When I say years ago, picture 2009 to 2012. So again, I've not found anything that's similar to that in Illinois. At all. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I don't know if people do that, and I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to think about like community and how in different spaces, in different places, people gather in different ways. For some, it seemed like once you knew a person, then you came to those events. But if you didn't know anybody to go to the event, you didn't go to the event. So I would imagine things still work that way, but it was a good time to go to the party and dance and have a good drink, and they had nice food to eat, so you could coat your stomach real well as you drank good liquor. So yeah, that was the holiday party experience. It was always a good time. Work or the personal ones that I went to, you know they were nice. And I guess for me, I think what I think about most is holidays. They're such a interesting time. Interesting is the only word that I have for it, because I've never really been a fan of them. I try really hard, and it doesn't have anything to do. I don't know. I think for me, I think one of the challenges, I won't say I don't know why that is. I think for me, the challenge is always creating the holiday experience in my mind versus the holiday experience in reality. And sometimes the difference and the disconnect in that, or when we're talking about home and where you can go and be in spaces where you can be your full self, because sometimes in much of my life that's been fragmented, either by choice or because it wasn't safe, or it just that wasn't I have to own 100% and be real with the fact that there were times that I masked myself for so many different reasons, out of practice, out of safety, out of fear, out of employment, out of just so many different reasons. And I often feel like my life bears the scars and the wounds, and the benefits of that level of compartmentalization. And I think these days it's like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to go. But I still experience that in some ways in different spaces. I think about like how that comes up is like watching the internet and people talk about conversations about misgendering that happens for trans individuals, and just how people think about gender as a very binary experience, and how people sometimes attach meaning of gender or just gender itself to what it looks like. So if it looks like what that particular person associates with the binary of girl or male, then yeah. But for people that are other, or people that they don't look according to someone else, then it just becomes a conversation or an experience of getting othered, of getting she'd, or how there have been times in my life when up here from the face up I get sir, but if they see my chest, they start calling me she. or because I don't have facial hair, or I don't have mustache. I mean, I don't have a beard or any of that. Then of course it becomes she. Um, Even though I prefer, and I've always viewed myself as he, him, his. But it's just interesting in thinking about that experience. I've always felt like when it comes to bodies and when it comes to navigating, moving through the world and space, I'm often having a conversation about how do I see me and not necessarily how do you see me. And then also there's that comfortability of sharing or being your full self. Where is that space? How does that work? Because I've been on some positions when you think about like work where being your full self was not accepted. And then you're out here trying to take care of your family and take care of your life, and take care of your responsibilities. So it teaches and provides you a different, for lack of a better word, set of skills. It's almost like code switching. You don't people code switching is not just code switch in terms of race. Code switch in terms of what's safe for you, will help you get through your day or get through whatever it is that you gotta do, and how that comes up. But I just think about that in terms of even in conversation, because I was thinking about that tonight in terms of you're sitting there talking with people, and at the information science event, which is not information science in terms of it was hosted by the school. It's mostly the people in the program, host that. And just thinking about how they're talking about conversations they have with other people, and because people form groups, people hang at different, and that's why I never shared that video that I made from earlier this week, but there was an event that was supposed to be going on Monday night, and I was spent, pip popped and pooped. And I was saying that it was an event that was like basically librarians and information science people. They were all, they picked a date, and the idea was they would meet at this bar. I didn't go to the event, but I was saying, and not for, negative reason, I just was tired. And I was like, I'm not going out on a Monday. I'm over it. I was already exhausted. So I did not go, but I was saying in that video how it wasn't just that event. I had been learning that different people, whether they're grad students or their staff or faculty or interests, have so many different groups that already meet. Either, like, there was one I was saying that I learned, there's a bar they go to in Urbana and they play trivia. There's an astronomy group, they meet at this pub for beer. There's people who like crafting and knitting, they have a group and they have a group chat. So I'm like, people meet and have these groups all the time, and they invite who they invite and who they connected with and who knows about it. In addition to being, sometimes the connection is we work together, and sometimes the connection is we're on the internet, we're on the internet, or we have the same interests. So not internet interests. So that's why we're meeting. And so I'm like, to me that's just like fascinating to know what's going around you. And I'm not necessarily affiliated with a lot of these different groups, but I've heard of them, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. And so I just think about how, like, when you think about like holiday parties, well, that's how that came about, because this group of people decided we're going to do this, even though the mainstream may do this or may not, we're going to have this party. But the long-winded version that I just gave you is people start talking about what it is they believe, their ideas, their values, or just conversations around gender or conversations around identity, and how that's in many ways, that's informally how you learn what people really think, because their guard is down, they're gonna chat at that point. And I think those are the biggest opportunity to really learn how people see you, how they perceive you, or not even if it's you that's in that identity group or in that level of wherever you are, but just in general. And you can learn that without really trying. It's just you sitting there eating your chicken and you learning what they think and what they feel. And so that's always fascinating to me. So holiday parties, lessons, experiences, would I recommend? Yeah, I like a good holiday party. There's certain things that I miss about holiday parties, because I think for me, when I think about like, experiences of coming out is going to other people's houses and you hung out and you ate food, you drank good, beverages, whether they were spirited or they were spirited in terms of alcoholic or non-alcoholic, or you had a good time of community and connecting with people and you just hung out, or you went out to the restaurants with people and you just had a good time. Those are things that I like and would have no problem doing. I don't always find the ability to do that because here, even in Illinois, it's not the same. I feel like in Florida, one of the things I loved most was my wife had friends, I had friends, we had friends. There were ways to really hang out and do things. And I thought that in Illinois, there would be opportunities to do that with people who live in the same space that you do. Like they were in majority of people that we knew. There were some exceptions of people who didn't not live in the same state. But here it seems like a lot of the people that I connect with or talk to the most, I'm talking to like this on a screen, either Zoom, Google Meet, or they don't live anywhere near me. And so that's just really interesting how I thought that when moving here that I'd be able, or we'd be able to find people, find that level of similarity, because it wasn't just friendships, it was finding a church home, it was finding, and how some of those things have been absolutely absent from the Illinois experience. And I think all of that connects to holiday parties, or that connects to community, or that connects to relationships and friendships, and how the disconnection that I talked about of how it is in my mind and how it is in reality is that it's can be very isolating to be in Illinois, even though you like your job, or you're on a job that you're growing and you've built a career, or you're now also in a PhD program and are finishing that. But it's like, yeah, you have this expectation, this hope that it will be this, and then now you're dealing with the grief of it didn't turn out like that, or some parts are good but other parts are, man, what I'm gonna do on the holiday, or what I'm gonna do, because it's always that traveling to other places or looking for that level of connection that you have found in other places. So that's the holiday wrap up. That's just my ramblings of my day to day. I hope that wherever you are, that you're taking care of yourself, that you find yourself doing okay. I'm chilling. I'm gonna watch some TV and relax. I hope that you're taking care of yourself and you remember that you matter. And I hope you're finding a community and people that carry you and see you and allow you to be the fullness of who you are. Peace.